this is a space that we have created from the Career Center. We have here Priyanka, which is the manager of the Career Center, and thinking on our student population, that we have a lot of international students, and we are happy to have this space with Mikhail from Skylex. It's a law firm that we have partnered to work together, and I think that it's going to bring a lot of value to our students and alumni as well. So without further ado, I wanna I wanna introduce Mikhail, and just take it out, please.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, the ITU Career Center. Thank you, Pramka, and President Yao, too, even though he's not with us. Yeah, so I am really, I love you guys, and we really connect, and it's nice that we have a synergy, right, between our companies, and this is fantastic. And I would love yet to bring more value because I'm an immigration lawyer, and I love the tech space, and in our area, the Silicon Valley, because what we are doing for our clients is we're bringing value through the labor that talented people like you guys are bringing to the U.S. Right? So, and then as you may know, there was a couple of articles in the Washington Post and New York Times about how many people come from different countries, get a degree in the U.S., and then they have to leave because of the visa limitations, because of the OPT or H-1B lottery, and then they start different companies in different countries that are very successful. Then they do the IPOs and so on. So there are many stories like that. So, and then with that, if we have a conversation maybe one time with you, or every time when we have a chance at least to get you started here with the employment authorization, with the long-term visa work solution, or something like that, so you can just stay and make money here and settle. So, and then with that, just I wanted to request that you please ask questions here in the chat. Uh, as we go, so I can just keep an eye on them and answer questions as we go. Right? Is that a good format? Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely.
Because I just want to just I can talk about immigration for at least 2 semesters or 3 trimesters. If we can talk about employment-based immigration, family immigration, asylum forms, about Congress, about different immigration bills, all kinds of things. But then I just want you to steer the discussion into what's more applicable to our subjects. And then what I have planned is if we talk about employment authorization, and Eric and Priyanka with the Career Center always know as much as the lawyers do about different forms, about different um, I-20s and CPTs and OPTs, about when to apply, when they get selected, or when they get actually rendered, how long it takes for the EAD. So you can always ask the Career Center about that. Yes, please, Bhupinder, Mr. Sandhu. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Sandhu. Yeah. Are you here to ask a question?
Yes. In the town hall, I heard you speak like we could start our green card application before we get the H-1B approval. Can you speak about that?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for the question. This is a good one. It's a little more like a detailed question, not just a normal work authorization H-1B thing. But what is an H-1B visa? It's a non-immigrant temporary work visa. It's valid for 3 years. Then it can be extended for another 3 years. So H-1B visa is a temporary visa, just like basically all other visas. And then the green card is a long-term solution, permanent residence application, and then H-1B is always just like a passing, like a transit point to a green card. For most, like many, like hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S. apply for H-1B first, and then in order to get a green card in the future. Now, with the H-1B selection, with the H-1B lottery, there was an issue always on how what to do with the applicants that don't get selected. So if the H-1B was not selected, then there is not a requirement to get an H-1B first before getting a green card. Now, you can get an H-1B and then start applying now. The rationale behind it is that employers want to see how the candidate performs on an H-1B before they apply for a green card, right? So that's really for the employers. That's the employers like a safety feature where they just don't apply for someone, don't spend extra money to an effort for someone who wouldn't be of a value to a company. So they want to use the H-1B for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 years before they start a green card process. Now, it's not required based on the law. You can right away start applying for a green card process. It's a very beneficial options for candidates, especially those outside of India and China. So if you're an Indian national or a Chinese national, you wouldn't be able to get a green card immediately, and then H-1B or OPT or any other option for people from India and China is needed, because you have to be in a valid status while the green card petition is pending, especially though the numbers in the visa bulletin. So, am I going the right way? Any questions so far?
So that's the EB3 visa, right?
Yes, EB3, or if there is a master's degree, then it's an EB2, EB2 visa. Okay, so I'll just give you an example from like with the candidates from Nepal. Nepal within STEM science. Well, you know what STEM extensions are. We apply for an H-1B for them. The first year H-1B is not selected. Then we talk with the candidates, we talk with the employer, and then we start the green card process while the candidate is on the STEM OPT. Or excuse me, just on the first OPT the first year, and then we get a STEM extension. And it normally takes 2 years to process the entire green card petition. So we start, let's say we know that we didn't get selected in April, and then we start the petition next year, and then it takes 1 year to do the labor certification. And then next year we apply for an H-1B for a candidate from Nepal. He's not selected again. By that time, by like October of the year, a year and a half from the date when we started, the candidate already receives the green card while being on OPT, and we are filing adjustment of status straight from F1 status with the approved employment-based green card, EB2 or EB3 employment approved I-140. We apply for a green card straight from F1 to a green card status. Okay, for candidates from Nepal or any country that is not India or China, that is an option.
Just for everyone to know, what would be the time that it takes for an EB3 if somebody is from China or India?
So it varies every year. From China, it's a couple of years. So I will now pull up the visa bulletin, and I will send you a link so you can open it and see what's there. Yeah. Generally, that option, here it is. So we go down and then we see, so EB3 from India. So EB3 from India is 10 years. EB2 from India is 8 years. And China is 2008, so it's 4 years and 3 years. So EB3 4 years, EB2 is 3 years. So what that means is that if we talk about, let's take EB2 as an example. Eric, can you open the link? Can you see the visibility?
Yes, I can, but I'm not logging from a computer. Maybe Priyanka can open it and share it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a complicated document to navigate and to go through. Again, we also can spend maybe at least 3-4 classes, like a full year and a half, an hour and a half lectures on what this document means. But I can just briefly show you where to go. Okay, scroll down. Yeah, I can see it. This is good. Multiple numbers. So scroll down. We need the third table. This is the second one. This is the third one. So this is it. Yeah, stop right here, please. So second and third, this is for EB2 and EB3. And then we go to column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for India. And we see September 1st, 2014. So, yeah, right here. Yeah, right here. Yeah, thank you, Priyanka. Yeah, this is it. So let's take it as an example. Let's say we have a student who has a master's degree from ITU, and now the student is on STEM OPT. Well, if we file a green card petition now, it means that for a candidate from India, it will take 8 years before we can file the actual green card application. But this is very important still to have this, to file it now, so we get the priority dates locked, which means we have this September 14 here. Okay, so question, please, Ms. Sandra.
Yeah,
Google has another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the green card application you said that can be filed from F1 directly. Does it have to be processed through the employer, or we can also submit the application?
Okay. Yeah. Good question. So it depends what type of green card petition that is. If EB2 and EB3 categories generally, yes, they have to be processed through employer. Any labor certification has to be processed through an employer. Now, these are the most common green card application where you use your bachelor's degree or a master's degree as a basis for a green card. Now, there are other categories that would work for professors, for PhD students, for someone with that does some kind of a research or work of substantial intrinsic merit, as they we would call it something very important. Those can be self-petitioned, but for that, the candidate has to be really outstanding, really with some, or doing something very important, not just regular for-profit tech work.
Okay, and the 8-year period you're talking that takes before filing the actual green card application, what's that period for? I mean, does that start from when you first file the application? I mean, I didn't understand, sorry.
8 years? Oh, okay, yeah. So 8 years, it starts from the when you file the labor certification gets filed. That's what that date means. It's called the priority date. Labor certification is a document that you file so just to keep it simple, it's something that you do maybe like 8 months after you start the process. So it's not the actual the approval that comes 2 years after you start the process, but something that you are doing like in the middle of the process. There's a certain form called labor certification. When it's filed, that's what that priority date means. And then you look at the document, the visa bulletin that we just looked at, and it says now it says for EB2, it says September 1st, 2014. That means that the application that were filed on September 1st, 2014 are now eligible for the actual green card, for the green card filing. So 8 years from, in other words, if we start now, we will get this priority date locked in about 6 or 8 months from now. Right now, we wouldn't be able to. It's not, the start date would not be today. It's like sometime next year. And after that, that's when the 8 year clock starts. Now the visibility, it's the date fluctuates. It goes back and forth. Sometimes it's 6 years, sometimes it's 12 years. It just, and you never know what it is. But it's still, it's somewhere around 8 years on average, or 7. So we got a question is, Doctor of Business Administration, what is the process to get EB1 eligibility? The process here is, it has to be something, so the category is called exceptional ability. We can talk about to get the process to get eligible, you have to become, exceptional. And exceptional means there is a list of categories, how to show that you're okay. So we get exceptional, but then if we talk then about EB1B only, it's the category here, outstanding professors and researchers. So you have to be an outstanding professor, and no, you don't have to stay with the same employer. But what is an outstanding professor? Eric, would you want to help us out on this? Who would you say would be an outstanding professor?
Well, maybe a professor that has been awarded for research, maybe a prize or recognition,
Exactly.
national or international.
Perfect. Yes. And then how would you count that recognition, or like how would a professor show national or international recognition?
Also, with I think that maybe publishing in journals that are for the industry of expertise.
Exactly. So publication in journals, and then what counts the most is actual citations to those publications. Like people ask me often, like, how many publications do I have to have? Yes, it's nice to have many publications, no question about it. But even if you have one huge article or a book that has so many citations, all the people like specialists in the field cite that may be enough to become eligible as an EB1. So just something outstanding. Or then high salary, being teaching at some, doing research for a big institution counts too. Anything that you would think from like a human, regular, average perspective is outstanding would work for this category. And what we do is just we make this case look nice, and then we get referrals from. We get reference letters. So when a professor is outstanding, perhaps even if the professor is working for just for regular school, maybe there are not many citations, but there are some publications. But then let's say in our area that professor is doing some has a job offer from like Amazon, or like some kind of a we can get a reference letter from a big company, from someone important in this area, just saying, well, I'm using this professor's research, for our marketing or for some products for AI tools, for something of value. And when we show that as evidence of outstanding, uh,
Mhm.
professor being outstanding. So we spin any way we can, and then we try to use any information that we have from that professor to show that the professor is outstanding. So that's to answer that question. And then yeah, we had a question from
We
Doc.
have from Dutch,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yes. So, I was working in a job before before pursuing this master's program, and they filed for an LCA at that company. So I'm not currently employed there anymore, but could I use that LCA and apply for a green card?
So okay, yeah, thank you, Doc. So LCA now, is it an LCA for an H-1B or labor certification for a green card? Was it labor certification?
It was for the H-1B.
Okay, so LCA for the H-1B is just a labor condition application. This is for the H-1B. So that is employer specific. It cannot be used for a green card, as the LCA is only to determine the wage, the prevailing wage that you need to be paid as an H-1B in that particular area. So no, it can be used for H-1B only with that particular company. It cannot be used for a green card.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Willie?
have a quick follow-up on that one.
Yeah, please.
So when Daksh said, he meant that LCB for a green card, right? That employer.
No, I meant the LCA for the H-1B.
Okay. Okay. So if there is an LC, if an employer applied an LCA for green card, for
It-
me, let's say example for me,
Labor
then,
certification.
yeah,
Different. Yeah.
then if I change my job, and the other employer should apply for me again, right? But my priority date would be the same as the last date or a new priority date.
Right. Very good question. Very technical. So yeah, uh, labor condition application, labor certification alone does not capture the priority date. You need to get an I-140 approved based on this labor certification. Then that makes your priority date captured for any employer that you, and then you have to start the process again with the new employer, but then you can recapture the priority date from that first labor certification. So labor certification by itself, it doesn't do anything, but when you go to the next step, you get the I-140 approved, then you can use that date.
Okay, so typically, how many months would it take to I-140 to get approved?
Generally, it's 9 months. But then its premium processing is available. You can get it in 2 weeks. That's why, like when we started with the question, it's good to have the I-140 and then green card process started with any employer, even when you are an OPT, because then you can use when you have the I-140 approved, you have your priority date captured, and then you can use it for when you go to your next employer. So then the question, I see the question from Swati. For doctoral students who graduate to get a full-time, what is the eligibility for EB2, national interest waiver? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. National interest waiver, it's a very interesting category. First is an EB2. So for applicants with an Indian passport, the wait time is still the same as that we just looked at. So it would be September 1st, 2014. It means even if you get the I-140 approved with an Indian passport, it still have to wait for this 8 years to get a green card, even if the national interest waiver is filed. Now with the NIW, the process is a little easier then with an outstanding professor that we just discussed, there are three categories basically. So you have to do work that is national in scope and something of, as I mentioned before, substantial intrinsic merit. That's what it says in the law. So it's the category is very vague. Again, let's now have Priyanka engaged. What would you say that is something of national importance in the US? What type of work as a professor? Like, what comes to your mind?
Something related to research.
Research, yes, but what type of research? What if I research, trees or what type of research do you think is very important?
Space.
What is it?
Research about space or something like that.
Yeah. So now there is no specific category. We just need to show this is very important to put super simply. Space is important. Yes. Is space national in scope? Definitely, because it's international, right? Is it if it's, let's say we research, if it's like someone researches, like something in the ocean, something that has to do with, like, I don't know, drilling, some oil operations, national scope. If it's AI, some artificial intelligence, self driving stuff, yes, we can show that. But then we were able to do national interest waiver for education. Right, the professor was just writing books on like how to actually teach certain subjects better. So education definitely is national in scope. And then but then let's think of something that. Can you guys think of something that is not national in scope? Something not very important that the professor does? So,
Not important.
what was it?
Thinking on something that is not very important that a professor does. I'm sorry, I didn't get that part.
Say it again, Eric.
Yes, you were talking about things that are national importance, but later you said something that is the professor do that is not important.
Right. Yes, that is not national in scope, that may not be important. I mean, any work is important, right? But then for NIW, national interest waiver, we have to show substantial intrinsic merit, something that is substantially important. So what if, and then, like, if professor teaches, UX design, and the professor just grades papers, like nothing really used by any professor in any country, well, in any state in the US. No papers, no publications, that it would not work as an
National interest waiver.
Yeah. Then national interest waiver would not work. But then what we are doing is, like, we take any applicant and then we try to make that case work. We try to just show that this is of a national importance. For example, generally for NIW, professors are work, and then those who do research, have articles. But we had the person come in with the master's degree, no PhD, and then he didn't do research. He was actually working all his life for railroad companies. Right, so railroad companies, like, why is it of national importance? It was tough, and then we would just try, and then, people come to us and just say, okay, I want a green card, do your magic, can you come up with something? And then we start researching on like, okay, send me your resume. What did you do for this company? What did you do for that? So I don't know if anywhere would be able to do that, because on the face of it, there was nothing to do. Nothing, like NIW would not work. And at that time, the person, I believe, was even unemployed. I don't remember now. Um, but he had a job offer from Siemens. So his job was to basically do the like a, simply put, like a train scheduling. Like he would schedule trains to go. He was like a manager, like a mathematician behind all the train scheduling part. Okay, and then so what we did is we showed his work experience, and he's done it for years, and he worked in the at the doing it at the Olympics, right? So to make sure that the like when people were moving, it was all going flawlessly with trains, and then there would and then we actually put train accidents to this thing, because that's what causes, if trains go the other way, like it can be a crash, right? Uh, there were crashes because of that in Pennsylvania, in fact, that we found and researched. And then we just put it that transportation is a big issue in the US, right? Traffic is a big issue. And then we just synced it all together with the letters from different professors and researchers in the field, because we used them. The guy knew many professionals in the field, so we just drafted the letters, recommendation letters, and then we showed that because transportation is a national issue of substantial intrinsic merit, very important, we tied it to railroads, and then we tied it to his particular job, and showed that it was important. If people more like him can do what he's doing, then the transportation would be easier, and and cheaper, and more people could travel, and it's good for the economy and all that stuff. And he got a green card. So yeah. And even though no professors, no research, zero publications, just work and a master's degree, but the master's degree in that, like transportation logistics, which an interesting way to do. And then again, I can give you more cases like that. Another one was a business resilience, was a master's degree. No, I had no idea what that was when when I got his resume, but then it worked, because business resilience basically is a program, a math research, and which that you do in terms of in case of disasters. So if something happens, then how can you calculate the bandwidth of highways and certain like hallways? How many people can evacuate quickly from a building or a city? All those things, very important. Again, we just made it sound that way, but the guy's just sitting in the office doing numbers, and yeah, he was able to do it using NIW. Yeah. So any questions? Kaushik, you raised your hand. Maybe it was an accident.
Yeah, it was, but I do have a question regarding the Skylex mobile app.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We do our consultations and practice through Skylex. Please take a look at the app. If you would leave us a 5-star review, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and then it's our work, national in scope, and of substantial intrinsic merit. Like if I were to do an NIW for the members of our team or for myself, like I would have to come up with a story just to show how can we show that the A to J, as they call, access to justice, is important. Is it can it be used in any state? Definitely yes. Is that important enough for people to have to talk with a lawyer on time, quickly to get the uh, their legal rights to counsel, right? To get this fulfilled. Yes, probably so. Can we use the technology in it that it's quick? There is something like of value, maybe as well. So, but then again, every case that we have, when labor certification is cut and clear, all right, it's pretty simple from that perspective, is that there is no there is no U.S. worker that can do that job for you. Then that's all we need to show. There is no discretion on part of the USCIS officer that adjudicates that petition. In other words, if we can prove that there is no U.S. worker who can take your job, you will get a green card. But with all those other categories, such as NIW, EB1, outstanding professors, they are, what is outstanding? What is exceptional? What is national interest waiver? There is no simple yes or no question. That's where it's important to have creativity, to have some, to use the parts of your resume that are that may sound like a very outstanding and exceptional, or a qualified for national interest waiver. But every time when there is a labor certification, then it's easier. The process is longer, but it just shows no U.S. workers available. The company has the money to pay. You are qualified with your degree. Then the green card can be issued.
How long would that take, the NW to present the case and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So yeah, a good question. This EB2 NIW, right? Because as we just discussed, that this is a creative process. This is no longer just filing, okay, form 1, check mark, check mark, check mark, advertising like for the labor certification, posting an ad with the San Francisco Chronicles. It's not like that. It's more now on really just like in court, like in the movies they're showing, they get the documents and like, okay, what can we use here? Or like this Johnny Depp litigation, right? Like using like things, okay, like, and then starting the story, trying to trick the plaintiff, right? And this is the NIW case is kind of like that. We look at the resume as like, okay, what can we do? And do you know this person? Who is the? And then we start. I work with our clients and I ask, who is the most important person you know, for example, right? Oh, I actually met, President Yao. He's really cool and he knows a lot of people, and I think he really likes me and he can give me a letter, right? And it's like, all right, now let's draft. How does he know you? What can he talk about? What can he say about you? What would he feel comfortable saying about you? Like, and then it's like, oh well, and then the client tells me, I think we can do this and that, and we draft a sentence from him. Like he would not say like, let's take Swati, if we can use you as an example in your question. Would he say that, okay, Swati is a super rock star, she's the best ever, she's the most valuable professor in the world? If you'd believe that he would put it in the letter, yes, then we put it all in here, and then we have President Yao sign that, and then we wait for him to sign it, and then people never sign the documents, those who are busy, like the next day, right? And then we just wait for a couple of weeks, and then meanwhile we're doing letters from someone else, and then we pull some research, we just do some articles to show that your area is important. So it depends on how quickly we get the documents back. It depends how busy or how invested the client is in its process. But on average, I say that we can put it together in 2 or 3 weeks. But in practice, it takes about 2 months to put a petition together. And then we file it, and then we wait for 9 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it would be like around 1 year.
Around 1 year, yeah. But then when we file it, there is such a thing here as a concurrent filing. Let's say your status expires in a month. So NIW allows, again, for applicants not from India or China, those who are immediately eligible. For example, so we had a professor from South America. And the professor she couldn't speak English, but she was an expert on education, and she worked for for one of the international organizations that do this, international, like development institute or something like that. And then her status was expiring, like it was some kind of a J1, I think, visa or something. So we just filed it concurrently. We filed the NIW and we filed the actual green card petition in the same package. So she could stay in the US and keep working while the petition was in process. Yeah. So in other words, here you don't have to wait for a year, or you don't have to leave or anything. You can keep working while the petition is in process.
Awesome. I'm curious. Any more questions from our crowd?
Yes.
Kaushik, yes.
One second, there's some disturbance here.
Okay. Yeah, please ask questions. If you can type them up in our chat, and yeah, we can see them and we can discuss them. Otherwise, again,
also look for Skylex app. Go to your phone, go to the Google Store or the App Store, and you can find it there. Also, you can go to the link skylexit.com and then download the app. That's the best way to get in contact with all the team that is in Skylex.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Yeah. So so OPT. One question: How much is OPT approval time? Okay. Priyanka, would you know the answer to that question? How long it takes to get OPT? Like,
I don't know.
I heard.
Actually,
I spoke to ISO last week.
uh-huh.
She said it would take 6 to 8 weeks max right now on average, but I don't know.
Okay. So normally, like we in our office, we are doing like this complicated work, like labor certification, NIW, and then ISO, like Kaushik said, they're more your student center is more involved and would know the numbers, the most recent numbers better than us. So yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Then thank you, Kaushik. Yeah. Okay, any other questions, please, guys? Anything you would like to know? Meanwhile, I can just maybe spend. Would you, Eric? How about if I just maybe talk for 5-10 minutes about asylum applications?
Yes, please. Let's do that. Yeah.
So, asylum applications, they're called political asylum, and any citizen of any country can file it when the citizen is in the U.S. And then the employment authorization would be issued for those means you can work. But then basically, if a student does that, you wouldn't be able to travel really anywhere for an unknown period of time. It may take 8 years or 10 years or more before you can travel back. And then even with the green card, when the green card is issued after that, based on the asylum. So we have, I like saying that we have 4 different categories based on which you can get a green card. Work is one that we discussed, and then work can be through employer or self-petitioning, like EB1 outstanding person. Family is another one, is a huge one. If you have a family, U.S. citizen, and definitely a wife or husband or other relative, then it's a huge second category. Then I like saying that investment is another one, right? That you can invest into the U.S. Economy different ways and get a green card based on that. And 4 is asylum. So political asylum, fear of death in your home country. Fear of death in your home country would qualify as well. So, but then if you have a fear of death, you can't. It wouldn't make sense to when you get a green card or before that to go back to your home country, right? Because in the application we have to show that you fear death. That's why the U.S. America needs to like protect you and not like, well, keep you here and then give you employment authorization. So yeah, asylum. Many people, a lot of people file that, and then they just. The good thing is like you can get employment authorization, you can work, you can live in the U.S. while the petition is in process, but then you can't really travel back until you get a passport. And officially, 60% of these applications is fraud. So people don't really feel any don't have any fear of death. They just don't want to go back. They just want to stay here. So yeah. The minimum investment is there are different category, and yeah, thank you for this question. There are EB5 categories, and then now it was just raised from $500,000 to, I believe it's $800,000. That's the minimum investment. And there also depends on which country. There can be a less amount when you start a new business. So the absolute minimum that we got approved with, it was a couple of, it was a long time ago. It was like about 7 years ago. Was $30,000, but that was an applicant from the United Kingdom. So with England, there is a special investment treaty. So there are several countries that qualify. Yeah. So, but then the EB5 category, the amount is much larger. So question from Faye. Can you apply for H-1B and green card in parallel while under F-1 CPT? So yeah, we started with this question. Definitely think of it this way. USCIS is immigration agency. It's a huge, huge organization, right? Really big. So many offices, so many service centers. When you apply for F1 OPT, it goes to one center. When you apply for H-1B, it goes to a different one. And when you do the green card petition, you start with the labor, Department of Labor, which means that immigration doesn't even have records of it. So it can all go in parallel. It's not mutually exclusive. You can do both. You can do F1 CPT, and at the same time, you can get H-1B and the green card. So if you got selected for the lottery, it's really good. You just need to keep your status as an F1 till October 1st, and then there's a 60-day cap gap, which is called, so you don't really need to keep it valid from in August and September, as long as H-1B petition has been filed. Yes, and then all this process can go in parallel because what I meant by different departments. I wanted to say that all these petitions go to different departments, and they don't even know about that the petition exists. F1 visa wouldn't know that you filed for a green card. The SEVIS system doesn't have records of green card applications or H-1B lottery pending applications or selected or unselected applications. But again, it's like it's totally fine. Like I was gonna make a romantic analogy, right? Can you go like and date several, girls or guys at the same time if they don't know that of each other? That's a problem because when they find out, they're all going to be mad and you're going to get in trouble. But when you apply for F1 and a green card and an H-1B at the same time, that's totally fine because even all those departments learn about it. That's totally fine because it's not illegal. It's totally permissible. You can do that. So.
All right, good. Let me see. Do we have more questions? Let me check. No, that was the last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think that we can wrap up. I'm very happy with this time that we've had. So now, yeah.
Yeah, hi Eric. I actually have a question. So I wanted to check For example, if someone is here on H4 visa and then we internally apply for F1, so there is an internal process which goes for 8 to 9 months to convert it to, or we call it the change of status from H4 to F1. But in between, due to some reason, I needed to travel to some other country outside United States. So in that case, when I came back, I got F1 stamped. So I got the stamping for F1. So I wanted to check the process which was started for F1 internally. What happens to that? Do I need to email someone, or is it automatically overridden or discarded because I've already got my F1 stamping?
Yes, thank you, Sonal. It's a good question and a complicated one. Uh, Technically, when you exit the U.S., you abandon your change of status petition.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. What you could have done is when you so I guess you didn't have for visa interview because what you eventually you will need to do this. So just schedule an interview next time you schedule an interview with the U.S. Embassy and with your H1B's, your spouse's H1B approval notice. You'll be able to get a H4 visa stamped in your passport. Yeah. Now you need to take a look at the I-94. What was the end date of the F1 status? And then make sure you don't overstay that period. And and then at this point, technically, another change of status petition needs to be filed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then so please take a look at the Skylex app. If you give us a 5-star review, that would be fantastic. Would really help us. I'm always available. We have a team of 6 people constantly responding to inquiries. There is a legal help tab, so you can take a look, ask a question, and and also send us any feedback or any comments or suggestions there as well. Yeah, this is how you can get in touch with me at any time too.
And congratulations to you and all the team at Skylex, because I was looking, Mikhail, that you won
Oh yeah,
the this gold, the Stevie Awards winner,
yeah.
an annual American Business Award. Wow.
Thank you. This is our category is best legal app.
Mm-hmm.
This is really cool. We want to make access to legal services much easier. Because this notion that lawyers are expensive. Just to ask a simple question, you need to pay at least $350 and go to the office or wait forever to talk with one. And this is true. Especially of our area. Like in Northern California. And we just want to make it easier, more accessible, where you just type a question, ask the question, and got it answered. And some organizations recognize that this is really great. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And we are partners, so that's awesome to have these type of partners with us.
One other thing, real quick, just for our students, is that there are so many immigration groups online on Facebook. And every time I go, and then there's Quora and sources like that, sometimes it hurts me to see the answers because people get misguided, and the wrong way. And often we have clients downloading the app and asking us questions when they really already messed up their applications. And so that's just what we are trying to do, where like ask the question so a qualified person would answer that. Sometimes it's worth the money, and then we just say that we have $75 for a 30-minute consultation. It's something simple, or we answer through the chat, for free. And this, like, like in my law school, there was a professor who used to work for the CIA, and he would say, what was the biggest issue for the intelligence services, 100 years ago? And that was the lack of information. That's what intelligence services faced, like lack of information. You don't know what to do. And what's the huge issue today? It's this overabundance of information. There is so much information, but and then we don't know how to sort it out. What's the important piece? Because everything is online. Everything that I just said to you is online that you can find somewhere. But it would take a long time to actually find this information and to find out that this is right and this is correct. So that's why that our resource maybe like helps some people to get this right of information, get this faster. But please be careful about googling and then like reading comments in different groups and different resources, blogs, as they may be misleading.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. Thanks a lot, Michael. And we're gonna keep organizing this type of events. This is the first one, but we'll have another one coming in the trimester and so on. So thank you so much for reaching out to us. And everybody go and download the app, give 5 stars. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael. Thank you for the all information.
Yeah.
Very informative session.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.